All right, guys, welcome back to this special edition of MMA Radio. Wally Walt's here with his Raiders hat. Sorry for that. But we're going to be talking about UFC this week. This is tomorrow. A random Wednesday UFC for the world out there. Dana said, hey, fuck it, everyone's chilling at home. Let's give them an event on Wednesday to cheer about. It starts tomorrow at 3 p.m. It is on ESPN Plus all the way through. Jacksonville Arena, same as UFC 249. This is a very good card, though. Me and Wally were just looking over it before we started the show. The headliner is Anthony Smith versus Glover Teixeira. Co-main event, Ben Rothwell versus OSP, moving up to heavyweight. And then I think the most intriguing matchup of the night, Alexander Hernandez versus Drew Dober in the lightweight division. But let's start at the beginning of the fight card, Wally Wall. In the heavyweight division, Chase Sherman returns against a debuting Ike Villanueva. Now, Ike Villanueva is I believe he's from the Houston, Texas area. I want to say he was on a huge roll before he got here to the UFC. Honestly, everything that I've read about the guy and everything that I've seen from his past fights, I don't see why he doesn't go in there and put on a huge performance against Chase Sherman.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I always say, you need the first fight to be good, and you start with the heavyweight. So for sure, maybe we will see a stoppage and knockout or something like that. So yeah, I'm excited. I like when cards start with a heavyweight fight because you know that maybe the fight will be short, so it will get you hype up a little bit more.
And Chase Sherman, coming back, obviously he was cut from the UFC, now getting an opportunity to return. He's got a little something to prove. Maybe he can go out there and, really stop the rise of this debuting fighter. It'll be an interesting matchup. Like you said, it's a great way to start the show, heavyweight matchup. It's going to most likely end with a big, big knockout. Can't wait to see it. In the featherweight division, a man who I have my eyes on, Hunter Azir. I feel like he could do it all, striking, grappling. He's really going to get a real test this weekend against Brian Kelleher. Me and Waleed were talking before, obviously, again, that Kelleher is at least a top 25 featherweight. This is Hunter Azir's biggest challenge to this point. He's 8-0, completely undefeated, and I'm interested to see what he can do. His striking, I believe, is better than Kelleher's, but I believe if it goes to the ground, Brian has the advantage. Obviously, this guy's got 30 professional fights to Hunter's 8, so they're going to get that veteran nod to Brian. I mean, if Hunter can get through this test, I feel like the featherweight division, at least like the 15 through 20, needs to watch out.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is a great matchup because we have the undefeated coming up fighter against the veteran legit top 20 ranked fighter. So it's a good fight. Both of them have a lot to win and a lot to lose. So I believe that they will go hard in this fight, and it's a good matchup. I like it.
Now, Omar Morales was originally going to replace Ismail Makhachev to take on Alexander Hernandez April 18th at UFC 249. That fight obviously fell through. Morales is going to be fighting Gabriel Benitez, and Alexander Hernandez is on the card later on. But let's talk about this Benitez versus Morales fight. Morales is 9-0. Benitez is 21-7. Who do you have getting the victory here in this one? Also, Benitez had another canceled bout also, so they're both dealing with opponent switches, so it's not like one has the advantage over the other in that situation. They're both dealing with it.
I love the fact that we are having another fight between an undefeated fighter and someone with more fights, almost 30 fights, so which is kind of impressive. Gabriel Benitez lost his last fight, so we will try to bounce back. You know what? For this fight, I will go with the undefeated guy. I will go with Omar. I believe that Omar may win this fight.
Benitez has been in the UFC for a very long time. He lost to Sadiq Youssef, I believe, in like a minute and a half in his last fight. It'll be interesting to see if he can bounce back from his last performance. Morales is only his second octagon performance, so we'll see. I honestly have the young Morales going in there and just decimating Gabriel Benitez.
Guess we will see.
Oh, sorry. Morales actually isn't even younger. Morales is 34. Benitez is 31. So I misspoke with there. Morales is just the younger fighter.
Okay. All right.
What's next on this card, Wally Wall?
We have Sarah Moras against
Sajar Eubanks.
Yeah.
Sarge coming back. You know, she trains over there with those guys up at the East Coast, Frankie Edgar, Eddie Alvarez, just straight killers up there with Mark Henry. Sorry, I was drawing a blank real quick. Yeah. Mark Henry obviously has these guys going in there for blood. So Jara Eubank, in her last performance, she, I believe, won the fight. If I believe, no. Her last performance was to Betcha, where she lost. Then she lost to Aspen Ladd. She was on a 2-fight losing streak. But this is a girl who did beat Roxanne Modafferi. This is a girl who did beat Lauren Mueller. I mean, she's had some interesting bouts here where she's looked very well against women, obviously in that flyweight division. You know, she's obviously staying here at bantamweight. Do you think maybe if she gets a loss here, she might think about rethinking her diet and figuring out a way back to flyweight?
Maybe if she gets another loss, she will have more losses than wins, so she will definitely need to figure something out. But like I
think they cut her though. I don't think they cut her just because of how shallow the women's division is, and she is kind of a name at this point. I mean, people know who Sajar Eubanks is because of her ultimate fighter performance, and obviously with everything that's went on since then.
Yeah, the females division, like the MMA record is actually important, but there's a lot of females with a lot of losses and a lot of wins. So because it's not been really established who's the top fighters in yet. So Sarah actually have her also. She has 6 wins and 5 losses. So if she loses, she will have the same number of wins and losses. Both
fights. Another fight that was rescheduled from the April UFC 249. These two women were originally to fight then. Now here we're going to get to fight finally tomorrow on a Wednesday. How excited are you to finally watch some fights on a Wednesday, man?
I like it. I have nothing actually to do because there's no studying, no going to university or whatever. So let me watch some fight.
You know what I mean? Yeah. No, my work just called me. They're like, listen, you got to stay steady for at least another week. Probably be back out next week. I was like, all right, cool, let's do this. Yeah. So Michael Johnson is taking on Thiago Moraes, 12-4. Johnson, obviously the veteran, 19-15. I feel like Michael Johnson, with a loss here, could see himself on the outside of the UFC. He's lost to Josh Emmett. He lost to CV Ray. He lost to Darren Elkins. This would be 4 in a row. Think about all the canceled bouts he's had. I mean, just deal with all kinds of ridiculousness. This is his 3rd opponent. So this might be the only reason that saves him. This is his 3rd opponent that he's had scheduled since April 18th. He was originally supposed to face Kama Worthy in New York. Then he was moved to another card to face Evan Dunham. Obviously, that fell through also. Now we have Thiago Moraes. Here we go. I mean, it'll be an interesting situation, but I feel like Michael Johnson's one of those fighters who's on his way out of the UFC, and we could possibly honestly see him in like a Bellator. I really think that's where his future is going to be.
Yeah, I agree with you. We are far from the days where Michael Johnson won against Tony Ferguson. I believe,
far.
People
bring it up like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it's not yesterday. There's so many losses between that and where we at right now. So many knockout cold against Josh Emmett, if I remember correctly. Cold. So yeah,
Darren Elkins made him look silly.
Yeah. So Thiago is a good fighter. Maybe he lost his last fight, but he's still a very good fighter. Michael Johnson, even though you will say that he's losing right now, he's on a losing streak. He's still a dangerous fighter, so you can't count him out. But I agree with you. I believe that Michael Johnson, if he loses this fight, this may be his last UFC fight.
Now, in the heavyweight division, we have Felipe Lins taking on Andrei Arlovski. These two gentlemen were originally supposed to fight May 2nd. You're going to hear that a lot today because obviously most of these fights. Yeah. But this man right here, Felipe Lins, he was the 2018 PFL heavyweight winner. already a millionaire. Now he's stepping into the UFC to take on this talent. First up to bat, Andrei Arlovski. I honestly think Felipe Lins is really going to show that he is here to stay. And I really think that he's going to prove that he should have been here a long time ago. This man has heavy, heavy hands, and he's going to show you that tomorrow night.
Yeah, maybe. You know that I'm a huge fan of Arlovski. I will never go against him. So I will always, even if he fights him when he's 88-year-old, I don't give a crap. I will keep on.
He could have a
Arlovski.
rematch against Ngannou. You're gonna pick Arlovski.
Yeah, listen, he won't stop until the number of his losses will be the same as his wins. I don't care. Keep on fighting. You're the pit bull. You're great. Listen, I enjoy each and every Arlovski fight. Those last fights were very entertaining. Maybe that Jairzinho fight when he lost by knockout wasn't pretty entertaining, but the other one, those decision fights, he actually looked good. So I like Arlovski's chances in this fight.
Yeah, no, and that pretty much wraps it up for the prelims. Then we have the middleweight division kicking off the main card. Carl Robinson taking on your boy, Marvin Vettori. Tell me, how excited are you to finally see Vettori back in the octagon?
I'm very excited, actually. I'm very excited because he's the only one who defeated Israel Adesanya. Clearly, I don't know why they gave the decision to Adesanya. Listen, Vettori is
ladies
a top
and gentlemen
challenger.
out there in YouTube and Facebook world, I'm sorry. This man is delusional today. He's got his little Raiders cap on. I think it's really messing with his head.
I don't give a crap. He was listen. If you don't say that he was the winner, he was the toughest challenge Adesanya ever had, I believe.
At the time, it was the toughest opponent he's had because of his youth in the MMA game. Now that I think he's had more experience and he's dealt with the bright lights of the UFC more, I think that he's at least had tougher challengers talent-wise, because if not, why isn't Marvin Vettori fighting somebody along the lines of Yoel Romero and not,
It's coming. It's coming. Wait for it. Yeah, don't rush it. Wait for it. Vettori is actually right now in a 2-win streak. So
Robertson has great striking. So he's got to look out for that. Marvin Vettori needs to be careful about Mr. Carl Robinson, because honestly, he can go in there and knock him out.
Of course, this is not an easy fight. I'm not saying that. But I believe that Vettori, if he wins this fight, it will be good for him. So maybe we can see along the line some fight against a top-ranked fighter maybe in this division. The same thing with Carl Robertson. So for both of them needs that win.
Carl Robertson is 4-1 in the middleweight division. His last fight was against Glover Teixeira. He went up to the light heavyweight division to take that. Now him being back at his natural weight class of middleweight, I really think that this is going to be Carl Robinson's night.
Yeah, he had the power, because when you see a guy who used to fight in light heavyweight, he can go down. You know that power doesn't go.
If he's not scared to go up, you know he's got dynamite in his hands.
Exactly. So this is a great fight. Like you said, I'm a huge fan of Marvin Vettori, so very excited about this fight.
I'm very excited to see Ray Borg getting back in the octagon. The bantamweight is going to be taking on the young Ricky Simone. Both these guys with a win here could be one win away from a title shot in that bantamweight division. I know it's really clustered right now, but I mean, these guys are right there in the thick of things. Ray Borg was a former challenger at the flyweight division. I feel like if he got back into weight cutting a little better, he could really make a difference in that flyweight division. Ray Borg is a tough SOB. Ricky Simone is also. The Ricky Simone came in with a lot of hype, though, and ever since he's been in the UFC, I feel like he's almost not lived up to that hype. Outside of a Ronnie Yaya victory, I mean, he didn't look good at all last year.
Yeah, but they've been throwing at him some pretty good fighters. You have Uriah Faber
and Uriah Faber,
and now Ray Borg.
I will give him the fact that he did beat Merab Dvalishvili.
Yeah,
I can't say his name correctly, but he did whoop that ass. So I'll give him that. Ricky Simone, though, I feel like with all the hype that he had behind him, he should have at this point already been way into the top 10.
Yeah, but that's the problem sometimes with the hype. You're not getting you some easy path to the top. They are giving you like lions from the beginning.
No.
So
He
yeah,
went out there and he didn't fight that smart against Uriah. I feel like he had opportunities that he could have hurt Uriah, but he went in there and tried to fight a firefight against a veteran. It's
yeah.
never going to work out that well. It was just little small mistakes that he's made too that are really other people have capitalized on. It hasn't been that he's been outclassed or outshowed by any means. It's just the little things that are really killing him in these fights. If he can correct those little things, though, I feel like we're going to have a real problem here in bantamweight. And we could possibly see another bantamweight contender because, we don't have enough of those already.
Yeah, and we don't have a champion because Cejudo retired. So right now it's mayhem. You try to win your last fight with good fashion with a knockout. You're in the mix. You can start talking shit on Instagram and you're right on the mix. So yeah, both of them need the win.
One fight that I highlighted earlier, Mr. Alexander Hernandez versus Drew Dober in the lightweight division. Alexander Hernandez is a good friend of the show. He's came on multiple times. Drew Dober is a killer. This is a great matchup for Hernandez, a great matchup for Dober. I really think Hernandez is going to get the W in this, but, anything can happen with these little gloves. But I still got to put my money on my boy, Mr. Alexander, the great Hernandez.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hernandez, people like
it's gonna
saw
be
him
maybe. Listen, they're gonna go in there and they're gonna want to take each other's heads off. I don't know if there's animosity between Hernandez to Dober, but I know Dober feels like he should have had the spotlight that Hernandez has been given. So I really feel like that is what's going to give Alex the edge. He's not going to be overamped. He's not going to want it too bad. And he's going to be able to be more of a controlled fighter and be patient with his strikes and really go in there and pick Dober apart.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hernandez actually looked very good in his fight against Cowboy. Even though he lost, but he looks great. Then after that, he bounced back with the win. It was a close win. It was a close decision. I believe that right now, that decision.
But you got to understand too, with that win, he went in with a fucked up shoulder. He knew he had to come out of that fight and get surgery. Him and I have talked about it multiple times. The only reason he didn't back out of that fight is because the fight was in his hometown. And he's like, how often do they come to San Antonio? Exactly. I could not get this opportunity again. So I'm taking it right now that I have it.
Yeah, it was a good fight. The fact that he won that fight, even though with the fucked up shoulder, and it was a close decision, it's like a huge relief for him because he bounced back immediately. So yes. I believe we will see a way more dangerous Hernandez in this fight than we ever seen.
For sure. I really feel like you're going to, and you got to understand, he's so young.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about a 27-year-old. 27 years old. He's about to hit his prime. I mean, it might be a huge problem at lightweight that we have with Alexander Hernandez. I feel like he should already be higher in the top 15. I want to say he's like 15 right there, right around the 14, 15. Yeah. I think he should be top 10 already. I would love to see him get somebody like a Kevin Lee.
Yeah, I will keep. Let's focus on this fight, then we will see.
He's asked for Gaethje plenty of times. Islam Makhachev was there on the table. They signed that fight. Wasn't scared about that. I really think either one of these two men, whoever wins this fight, is going to propel themselves right in the thick of things in the lightweight division.
Listen, in this division, there's no problem with having to fight big names. The division is full of big names. So
you're gonna get a big name if you're in the top 15, no matter what.
Like it or not. Hernandez is pretty young, like you said. This is the killer division, and he's out there with the killers. So let's see how this fight goes. If he wins with a huge fashion, like a big knockout or whatever, I believe that he will have a top-ranked fighter. But if he wins by decision, we will see. Each fight, we
shall see tomorrow night. Jacksonville.
Take it step by step.
Now in the co-main event, Ben Rothwell is taking on OSP. Big OSP going to the heavyweight division. That man had dangerous and scary power in the light heavyweight division. I can only imagine what it's going to be like in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, I agree with you. Ben Rothwell is one of those heavyweight dinosaurs, like people like to call them. He's a tough guy to fight. OSP is very talented. He has his own submission move. I believe they named it the
Saint
OSP
Priest.
Darkstroke. Yeah, exactly. So he's very talented. His striking is weird. It's kind of weird. Remember his fight against John Jones. John Jones took time to figure him out because it wasn't an easy
Yes.
fight. OSP is a very weird fighter to fight against, and in this heavyweight division,
He's unorthodox.
and now being in the heavyweight division, and now he's being heavier, and he is a knockout artist, even a submission artist. He's a finisher artist, so it's very dangerous. I like his chances in this fight, actually.
No, I really, really like his chances in this fight. I really like him at the heavyweight division. I feel like with him not having to cut weight, he's 37 years old. It's at the point in time where, it makes sense for him to join the heavyweight elite, because I really feel like with his power, he can make a huge statement in this division.
Yeah.
And he's got decent grappling to it. He's no slouch on the ground.
Yeah, and if you listen to Cormier during the pay-per-view, Joe Rogan was talking about the Castro, if he could be able to cut weight to fight at light heavyweight, and the DC said like no, like the weight cut is very difficult for those big guys. DC said no more light heavyweight, no more of that. Yeah, so
who do you got in this co-main event matchup?
I will go with OSP, and I will go with the finish. Yeah, but
I have to agree with you. I think we see OSP finishing him as well.
I agree. Yeah, okay, we agree. That's good.
That's a first. This doesn't happen a whole lot.
No, it's not a first. Come on.
It's like a third. All right, fuck it. In the light heavyweight division, Anthony Smith is taking on Glover Teixeira in the main event of the evening. Jacksonville stand up. We have a fight night on Wednesday. You have a pretty good main event as well. Anthony Smith, former title challenger. Glover Teixeira, former title challenger. With a win for either one of these two gentlemen, it could throw them right back in the thick of things of who's fighting John Jones next.
I agree with you 100%. Maybe Glover, his last couple of fights weren't against really top-ranked fighters. Maybe Smith is more close to a rematch against John Jones and Glover for a title fight. But yeah, Anthony Smith, I believe he is right now one of the most liked fighters in the UFC because of his fight against John Jones and his story of that guy who tried to rob him in his house.
Dude, right?
Yeah.
Take care of business.
Yeah. So so he's been under the spotlight.
And imagine if that guy just would have planned the break-in a couple weeks later, he'd have been fine. Just joking.
Imagine if he knock Glover Teixeira in the first round, and that guy in prison like starts saying, "You see this dude? Like I couldn't last against him," or some shit like that. Imagine that.
No, I can see it, man. But I really feel like this matchup with Glover's a huge. If Glover, I said this on the Fight Dialogue. Yeah. If Glover would have came over to the UFC earlier, if he didn't have the visa issues, had he been younger when he got into this light heavyweight division, I feel like we would be talking about a completely different beast. He's 40 years old right now. We're still talking about a man who could possibly get a title shot with a win or two here. Yeah. Like craziness when we're talking about the light heavyweight division, who is just full of killers, especially killers who have moved up from middleweight, and then the ones who are already there, the young guys like Dominic Reyes, who are really just showing what they are in this division. I mean, Dominic Reyes pushed John Jones to extents that we've never seen before. Everyone says that Gustafsson fight was close. Yeah. But at this point, nobody has ever said that John Jones clearly lost, except for just somebody like Dominic Reyes.
Yeah, this division is actually really stacked right now. Anthony Smith, man, I believe when he can get that title fight, he can leapfrog everyone. You have that argument. I don't see because listen, you can say that Reyes had the closest fight, but I
think Reyes gets the title shot no matter what.
Yeah, ask Tony Ferguson about a title shot. Ask him. you know it doesn't work like that. You know that the MMA world doesn't work like that. It's the who is here will get the title fight. It's all about being there in the right place in the right time at the right time. So yeah.
At this point in time, with everything going on with the coronavirus, I mean, it is almost like that situation. You know, it always
exactly
like, you know, whoever's closest in the ranks that can get there on time and is ready to fight right now, you're getting the title shot. And this is the best time for people to capitalize on opportunities like that. People who feel like they haven't been able to get fair fights in the rankings to go ahead and take those fights that might seem like huge risks, that might seem like a big jump up in, competition. But this is the time to do it because you're going to get the opportunity to showcase your talent. Trust me, it might come out. Like, look at Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy's a perfect example, okay? He fought Volkov. He lost to Volkov and came out a better fighter because of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Same situation could happen with other fighters right now.
Yeah.
We're getting a little away from the point right now. I think Smith wins the fight. I think he wins by a finish. I think it happens within the first 3 rounds. I don't think they need championship rounds for this one.
I agree with you. I believe maybe Glover is too old for this.
It's going to be a brawl, though. It's going to be a brawl. I think Glover gives him a good fight. But I don't think Glover's got the chin to last like Anthony Smith does.
We are post Glover Teixeira prime right now. He may
just a little bit.
He won those fights against those other fighters, and they are pretty good fighters, but they are not really top 5 ranked fighters. Anthony Smith is a killer, man. Is a killer.
Is a killer for sure.
So, yeah.
Now, knuckleheads, we will be back again doing this on Thursday as long as our schedules permit it. Wally Wall, anything else for UFC Smith versus Teixeira?
Listen, when you see this card, you think maybe that there's no really a star in it, but this card is actually pretty stacked. All the fights are interesting. Some maybe future contender for the titles are here in this card. Yeah. So it's a pretty good card. It's a pretty solid card because at first when I saw it, when I saw it at first I thought that maybe it wasn't that good, but now that I'm seeing, like, I'm really looking at it.
Matchups are good and they're intriguing. They're very even matchups, I feel like, too. And really, I see a lot of the situations where if I look at them like, well, if either guy wins, they're really going to plateau themselves. And there's multiple fights like that. And I love cards like that because it really shows the type of talent that there is in the UFC, and there isn't such a huge gap from the guy at the top to the guy at the bottom.
Yeah, agreed.
Now, stay tuned to our YouTube and Facebook channels for more interviews this week. We're going to get some more guys on after these fights. I've already talked to Alex and Drew Dober. We're going to get both of those guys on. So stay tuned, guys, because big things are coming.